Hey there, I'm Sal. Thanks for checking out the video. Today we're going to be installing some new LED fog lights from Auxbeam. Now I could just throw them into these aftermarket housings that I have installed. They look nice, but the light output is just really weird. So I still have the factory housings that I took off the truck, and you can see that they're pretty oxidized, so I'm going to be sanding them down, and I'm going to be re-clearing them with 2K Clear. It's a product I haven't used before, but if everything goes well, I think they should look really nice. It's going to be a little bit of an learning experience, but I'm excited to do it. Let's get into it. Okay, so I'm sure you're wondering, why the heck am I going to go through the hassle of cleaning up this oxidized one when there's perfectly good looking ones on the truck right now? And for me, the reason's really twofold, but the main one is, like I mentioned, these are aftermarket housings, and I originally got them because I upgraded the headlight housings, and these were all yellow, so you can imagine it didn't look very good with these being brand new and then these looking all oxidized. So when I installed them though, I immediately noticed a difference from the quality of the light from the OEM housings to the quality of light coming from these. You can see in these clips here, it's kind of weird on the outsides. They get all these vertical lines, and I don't know, it just doesn't look right. So I'd much rather just clean up the factory housings and get back to that good OEM light spread. The other main reason I wanted to try it this way is because I've used a lot of headlight restoration kits in the past, but I've never done it kind of DIY style where I sand it down myself and then I re-clear it with 2K Clear. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what 2K Clear is, it's actually a two-part clear. It comes in a spray can, but it doesn't act like a normal spray can. It acts more like what you would find in a spray gun, where you have two components. So that's what the 2K stands for. And you actually have to mix the clear base with the hardener. So that's actually what this red tab on top does. You push it on the bottom here and then smash it down, and it breaks the seal between the two parts. And you have, like, I read online, like 2 days to work with this paint before it goes bad. So it's a really tight time frame that you can work with, and it's a little bit more expensive, but it's supposed to give you much better results, much more professional results, harder clear coat. So it's something I want to learn how to do, have some experience with, and it should give some really good results that'll last for a very long time. Okay, so we'll start with sanding the housings themselves, and what's going to make these a little bit more difficult is that while most of the curvature is underneath the surface, it's not completely flat. If you run your fingers over it, you can kind of feel some bumps as you run across. So as we start sanding, it's only going to hit the high spots. So it's just going to take a little bit of extra time to go up and down each of these and make sure that we're sanding every last little square inch of this housing to get all the oxidation off. The 3 sandpapers we're going to be working with is starting with 220 grit. Then we'll step up to 320 grit to refine it a little bit. And then I got 1500 grit at the end to just make it a nice smooth surface for the clear coat to adhere to. This will be a wet sanding process to avoid putting any deep gouges in the plastic. So you could just use a simple spray bottle, but I have one of these fancy things, and so I'm just going to wet this down. I'll also wet down the sandpaper, and then yeah, let's go to town. Okay, so you can see all the milky runoff. That's the oxidation getting pulled right out. And you can also start to see, I don't know if the camera's going to show it well, but I'm really only hitting the high spots like I just talked about. So I'm going to have to go back in and make sure that I'm hitting each of the indents to get all the oxidation off.
Wet sanding is one of those things where the quality of the results is directly related to the time and the effort that you put into the prep beforehand. So making sure to take your time with each of these sanding grits is very important. Also, try to make sure that you get into every little nook and cranny so that you have a clean and consistent finish when you go to spray the clear. I think it's recommended to sand all in one direction for one grit and then cross to the other direction for the next grit, but I kind of just went in circles and made sure to hit every spot with at least a couple of passes. By the end of the sanding process, the plastic should have a nice matte appearance that should look the same all the way around. There aren't any more finishing steps here, so we're good to go moving into spraying the clear coat.
Okay, so it was a little chilly yesterday, so I put it off till today. It's a lot warmer out, and I was also able to, I have like this cool little like greenhouse thing over my sink in the kitchen, so I was able to put all this in there, and then it like really heated it up. It's like a little oven. So paint is like nice and warm, and these guys are nice and warm too. I'm gonna go through and one more time run over them with some rubbing alcohol, make sure that they're completely clean. And then I went and picked up some tack cloths just to make sure we don't have any dust on them, but I don't think that'll be a big issue. Okay, so to start with the clear, like I mentioned earlier, there's a little bit of a process. So it starts with shaking the can for 2 minutes, then we take the red cap and punch it in the bottom, and then we shake for another 2 minutes, and then we'll get going.
From there, it kind of feels wrong to spray a clear coat over a housing that isn't completely clear and transparent, you know? It feels like you should polish it first or something, but as long as you finish with a high enough grit sandpaper, the clear coat will fill into all those micro scratches from the sandpaper, and it'll come out crystal clear. A lot of other people here on YouTube have used this method, so that gave me the confidence to give it a shot.
Okay, so this is after the first coat. You can see, I don't know what's going on down here, if this is like moisture or if I just didn't sand it with a high enough grit, but other than that, they're looking pretty good. This one has a lot of orange peel, so hopefully that, kind of fixes itself in the next couple of coats, but yeah, let's keep doing this thing.
I waited about 10 minutes in between coats, but I think you can adjust that depending on the temperature and humidity where you are. Here in Virginia, it's starting to get cold, so although it was like 50-ish degrees, which was a warmer day relative to what we've been getting, I still think it was a bit on the colder side for spraying clear, and I think it definitely slowed down the curing process. I made sure to bring them back inside the house to set up and dry, but I just hope that the durability of the finish wasn't affected too bad by the colder temps outside when I sprayed. But this was the final result though. I think they came out great, and only time will tell if they hold up to everyday use.
Okay, so now that we got the housings cleaned up and looking good to go, we can install the new LED lights. So the guys over at Auxbeam sent these out to me. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and when they reached out, I thought it was a perfect opportunity to upgrade the lighting and then also kind of provide my review on them. So I actually opted for yellow fog light bulbs. I know it's not going to be for everybody, but there are other colors available. I just really think it's a good look to have white headlights with yellow fog lights. It's what I had on my WRX back in the day, and I just think it's a cool look and should look good on the truck too. So this is how it comes packaged. Really, nice looking units. What's nice is there's no extra wire. It perfectly plug and play. It just fits right into where the factory lights were, and should work absolutely no issues. So this is what they look like coming out of the box. And then when we remove the foam, we got some instructions down at the bottom, which, like I mentioned, you probably won't need because they are extremely easy to install. Just popping out the old ones, throwing the new ones in. And then, of course, at the bottom, they provide a sticker. So this will be going on my detailing box with all the other bunch of stickers that I got. So let's get these installed and see how they perform. Okay, as far as install goes, the easiest way to do it would probably be to remove that plastic cover from down there, from the bottom, but if you don't feel like taking all that off, you do have access through this hole here, and you can see the clip, where is it? Right there. So very, very accessible through the front fender well there, but if you really want to, you can take that off. It's just the two Phillips head things over here, and then 2 bolts, I believe, down on the bottom. But if I was just replacing the bulbs, I would just come through this hole here.
In our case, to swap the whole housing, we do need to remove that splash guard and then the 3 10mm nuts that secure it, located here, here, and here. You will need a deep socket to get these off, and I'd recommend having a short extension to help reach the top one a little bit easier too. Then you can just slide the fog light right out. Okay, here's a comparison of the Eagle Eyes that I just took off the truck. You can kind of see Eagle Eyes written down here. And then the OEM Toyota that I cleaned up and re-cleared over here on the left. You can see Toyota at the bottom. And to my relief, they look really similar. I was worried I was going to take off these super clear ones, and then even though I cleaned these up, they weren't going to be quite as clear as the Eagle Eyes, but they look really good. So looking at the back of the housing here, one last thing before I install it. You can see down here at the bottom,
there's this Phillips head kind of set in there, and that's the adjustment screw. You can see it pushes it in or out, and that'll adjust it up or down. So I'll be honest, I actually didn't know that, and these were pointed like at the sky above my headlights for the longest time, and then I finally adjusted them down, and they're a lot more usable.
So I hope it's pretty obvious that these new LED bulbs are significantly brighter than the halogen ones. I mentioned it earlier, but I had the Eagle Eyes housings pointed well above my headlights for as long as I've had them installed, and I never once noticed that they weren't adjusted until I put the LEDs in, and I mean, it was brutally obvious. So that should say something about the difference in light output in the bulbs themselves. But I also hope that you can see a little bit of a difference from the Eagle Eyes to the OEM housings and lenses. I certainly can in real life. The OEM ones just kind of give more of a floodlight appearance, while the Eagle Eyes are more liney and less uniform. I tried to show the comparison here on the garage door, where the left side is the OEM and the right side is the Eagle Eyes. I'm really glad that I decided to clean up the stock ones, and seeing this side by side really justified all the work that went into it. All the things I used in this video will be linked below, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and if you're watching this when the video goes up, have a happy Thanksgiving to you and your families.